Today's podcast is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. If your property gets damaged by a storm, it's nice to know there's a Kentucky Farm Bureau insurance agent in your hometown who's committed to making things right. Rain or shine, you can count on the great coverage and personal service you expect from Kentucky's insurance company. To request a free quote, find your local KFB insurance agent at mykfbagent.com. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment. We have Kentucky Commissioner of Agriculture Jonathan Schell with us on this month's edition of Farm to Frankfort. Commissioner Schell, thank you for being here with us today. We'll just kick it off a little bit. Give us a little background about yourself, who you are, where you're from.
No, I appreciate it, Kyle. I'm a fifth-generation farmer from Garrett County, and our farm and operation, we've got beef cattle. We run background heifers. We've also got 2 acres under roof and greenhouse, so we do hanging baskets, bedding plants, all those kind of pretty flowers for people in central Kentucky. And then we raise about 30 acres of pumpkins that we do a lot of the specialty stuff, the warties, the stackers. We also do the jack-o'-lanterns. And we raise corn for silage for our cattle. And then I've got 4 kids. They're 13, 11, 8, and 6, and been married to my wife, Brooke, for 13 years.
Yeah, good deal. And on the pumpkins, I understand that you were in the running for the largest pumpkin at the state fair. Came up just a little bit short.
Being in the running is a very loose term. It is the most proud 8th place that I've ever gotten in my life, Eddie.
That's true.
8th place. I was very proud of that. I spent more time on 4 giant pumpkin plants than I did the entire 25 acres that I put out last year. It's a subculture in the giant pumpkin world, and it'll definitely take up all of your time.
Yeah, everybody loves having the largest pumpkin grown in Kentucky.
Yep.
At the state fair. That and the watermelon and those things are a big
Yep.
deal at the state fair. So you being Commissioner of Agriculture probably need to participate in that, so that's a good thing.
Well, I'm glad I participated last year. It was really fun. I did a 400-pound pumpkin. The winner was 1,200 pounds.
Right.
But I can't participate next year for competitive reasons,
right.
being the commissioner. Right. But our employees and staff at the Department of Agriculture has worked with the state fair, so we're going to add a new category in the giant pumpkin contest, and it's going to be the Commissioner's Challenge.
There you go.
And so you can bring a pumpkin and try to beat me at the state fair, and we'll give you some kind of special notoriety, maybe some prize money. We haven't figured it all out yet, but it should be fun.
I can't wait to see all those young people that can grow a pumpkin larger than the Commissioner of
There's
Agriculture.
a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them. Eddie and Drew love giving me a hard time about beating all these young kids. And there's only maybe one kid that put in a pumpkin. The rest of them are a bunch of old men and women that go up there.
There's a reason why you chose the pumpkin instead of the country ham contest, because
Yes.
you know you couldn't compete with all those 4-H kids.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Hey, well, you've been in about 60 days now. So kind of how's the first 60 days in office been as commissioner?
Being Commissioner of Agriculture is the absolute best job in Kentucky. And I wish that everyone in this state could go with me on a daily basis and see Kentucky from the eyes that I get to see it from, to have the meetings that I get to have, to talk to the people that I get to talk to. This state is unbelievable, and the potential for the future of agriculture in this state is limitless. Every day has been better than the last for the last 60-plus days that I've been commissioner, and what we've really been hanging on is we have a Department of Agriculture that runs really well. We've got a lot of great staff that are there that are doing inspections and regulations, that are doing marketing, that are working on animal health, trying to get grant funds out to our farmers and small businesses across the state of Kentucky. That's allowed me to retool and refocus the Department of Agriculture to a main narrative of agriculture is economic development. And every single day that I've woken up for the last 60-plus days, that's what we focus on. And we've got 4 main areas that we work on: row crop infrastructure, research and development, large-scale animal processing, food production network, and on-farm retail and local direct-to-consumer marketing.
Yeah, and we always talk about with Farm Bureau and our roadside farm market or certified farm market program, and the more, and you know this firsthand, the closer you can get that product to the consumer's mouth or to the consumer's farm, whether it be a decorative plant or whether it be a food product, I mean, that's really how you bring back more money to the farmer. That direct farmer.
You're absolutely right, Kyle. And what it does is it helps with profitability on the farm. The closer you can get from the farm gate to the food plate, it really does 3 main things. One, in a lot of times it's a tourism aspect where that grower, that farmer, that producer can get people on the farms, charge a ticket price to be there, to be able to work and maneuver through that operation, whether it be in the fall of the year in a pumpkin patch or a corn maze. It also helps to give profitability to that farmer because they're directly marketing to a consumer. And then the third thing is on education, of educating our consumers across the state of Kentucky. The more we can get people on the farm to understand the intimacy of what farming is, that putting your hands in the dirt, that understanding who your farmer is and where they came from, to where, in my case, to see my face, my dad's face, my kids' faces, the more easier it is for them not to believe the narratives that they see in the national media or on TikTok or on Instagram, saying that we're beating our animals or eroding the soil. Those things are just not true.
Right.
In agriculture, next year is more important than this year, always. We're the best conservationists. We do sustainable practices every single day. Those livestock are our livelihood. They're like members of our family. Eddie asked my son the other day whenever we were at a meeting, said, "Did you feed the cows before you left?" And he said, "Well, Eddie, they don't live with us." And so that's the kind of attitude that we as farmers have, is that these livestock are almost like family to us. I mean, they are what provides a living for us, and we just have the benefit of being able to make our living in the most intimate way possible with the ground, with the land, and with the livestock.
Commissioner, one thing that you talk about often is an end user of a product. And I think that is absolutely what we here in Kentucky need to focus on.
Yes,
if we have an end user of a product, usually you don't have surpluses from that.
Right.
You use them here in Kentucky, transportation costs go down, profitability goes up. And that initiative is something that I hope that we can work together on during your term here as Commissioner of Agriculture, and that we can see that done.
Yes, sir. And so when you think about the synergy that's in agriculture, when you think about the row crop and the commodity side of it, we need multiple end users for that product, whether it be around the oils that we secrete out of those products to make biodiesels or cooking oils or biofuels of any kind. And from that, we get byproducts that we can feed the livestock, or whether it's on the raw commodity side, where we're crushing that bean and corn and wheat to be able to have livestock feed to feed out livestock. And then on those livestock side, of being able to get those into consumers' mouth, to get them onto the plate. Absolutely. The synergy in agriculture is extremely important. And then to be able to take the stuff that comes out of the back end of these livestock and put them back on the ground for sustainable practices, to be able to get the nitrogen, the fertilize back into the soil. It's a synergy that we have in agriculture that we need to exploit to the fullest potential that we can for the benefit not only of our farmers, but also to our communities and society.
Oh, yeah. So, Commissioner, you were elected early November, President Eddie Melton, early December. Obviously, we work together every single day or every single week. How important is that relationship between the Department of Agriculture and Kentucky Farm Bureau?
You know, we have a lot of partners in the state of Kentucky in our commodity groups and just with businesses that we work with. But the partnership that we have with Kentucky Farm Bureau is one of the strongest and most important that we have. Representing almost 500,000 farm families across the state of Kentucky, the constituency that you have is the same constituency that we work with our programs and things on a daily basis. The overlap between our two organizations is immense, and it's so important. And Mr. Melton and I and the rest of the executive team and a lot of your all's members throughout the state of Kentucky and I talk on a daily basis, because what I always tell people is if it's good for agriculture, it's good for the Department of Agriculture. If it's good for agriculture, it's good for Farm Bureau. And most of the time, if it's good for the Department of Agriculture, it's good for agriculture. And if it's good for Farm Bureau, it's good for agriculture. It's just it's a relationship that has worked for decades, and that's not going to change.
It is. Yeah. We've made a commitment to each other that we're going to stay connected and talk to each other and work together. And, you know, with the staff that we have here at Kentucky Farm Bureau and the staff that you have at KDA, I think it's endless, the possibilities of things that we can do together. And we're committed to doing that with you. And y'all have got an important role for agriculture along with a lot of other consumer advocacy things that y'all do. So we're excited to partner with y'all and see where this can take us. And I know your energy and enthusiasm it captures everybody in the room when you talk, and we're excited about being able to be a part of that and what's next. You know, that's what I'm excited about.
I appreciate it, Eddie. And you know, after Mr. Melton's election as president, we got together and talked very quickly about wanting to get our staffs together sometime after the first of the year. And we've been able to do that actually today. And having those conversations so that we know who's doing what at Farm Bureau and they know who's doing what at the Department of Ag, so that as things come up, we know exactly who to talk to.
And we actually had some things today that we talked about that we can work together on, and initiatives that we can do and team up together, because I think that's what we do, because when we all work together and work on things in unison, that we can accomplish great things.
Yep.
Absolutely. And our membership loves seeing you out on the farm And I know you prioritize that
Yep.
on the campaign trail, but you've also prioritized that through your first 60 days. I know you've been in boardrooms with the people who are buying our products, but I know you've also been out there on their farms and been going to the gas stations in Seabury for the best lunch in town. I know our membership loves seeing you out there doing that type of thing.
Yeah, whether it's a boardroom of a $1 billion company that does business in the state, or whether it's a farmer who's, just selling at a roadside market, everybody has to have a voice in this, and everybody's voice matters. And I think one of the most important things for me as ag commissioner is, yes, this is a job that I have that I'm dedicated to, but I think that the constituents that I represent and the people in agriculture also want me not to lose my connection to my farm. And so being a full-time farmer myself and being on the farm to understand the plight that we go through as agriculturalists and farmers, of seeing where inflation is hurting us, to see how hard it is in rural Kentucky to get child care for a young family like mine, to understand that they have a commissioner who not only is there advocating on their behalf, but who understands the problems personally every single day of what we go through. And so, I've had to say no to a few meetings here in the first 60 days, and we'll have to say no to some more because I have to be able to have time not only for my family, but to also keep farming so that I don't lose that connection back home that's made me so effective, I think, in this job, to understand the problems that we have that we're actually going to need to address. I'm very genuine when I say I wish everybody in the state of Kentucky could go with me just one day to see the conversations that we're having, to see the potential that we've got. It's truly amazing what our agribusinesses and our farmers and our partners that we deal with, like you all, are working on a daily basis. The thing that I love the most is, like, when Eddie and I talk, we're not talking about just fluff things that are not going to ever make a difference. We're not trying to chase press releases. We're not trying to chase a TV camera around. When we talk, we don't care about the credit. We just want the job to get done on behalf of the people that we represent. And I think that's why Eddie and I specifically work so well together, and most all of our partners are that way.
Yeah, I've always said that, like, farm advocates have really the three big H's: humble, hardworking, and honest. And I think that you have all those qualities. I know President Melton does as well. And I really think that's why agriculture is so successful in the state of Kentucky and also in Washington, D.C. with getting things accomplished. So, it doesn't matter who gets the credit for it. Let's just get the job done.
And I'd hit on one more thing that I think a lot of people are looking at these days with the contention that's in politics, is that we never talk about politics. Agriculture, when they come to my farm, I don't ask them if they're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, if they're trying to buy cattle or flowers. And you all sell insurance and you all participate with your membership, and you don't ask them what party they're affiliated with. Politics doesn't matter when you're trying to get the job done on behalf of your people. There's a time for politics, but we don't involve it here. Yeah.
So one of the things we do at Farm Bureau every 2 years or every 4 years is we host a campaign management seminar.
Where I got my start.
That's what, we're putting together some material moving forward to really promote that program. We might have to have you back as one of the successful alumni from that program.
Well, it changed my life. I mean, I truly can say that going through your all's campaign management seminar changed the trajectory of my life anyways. When I went into that class, I had long hair, had a T-shirt on, holes in my pants.
Brooke wasn't dressing you yet.
Brooke wasn't dressing me yet. We were married, but she wasn't dressing me yet. And I went in there straight from the farm. Cattle didn't care what I looked like. It didn't matter.
That's right.
And when I left there, the guy told me, he said, if you don't get a haircut, shave, and put a collar on, don't come back tomorrow, because what his point was valid. He said that you need to be representing the people that you're going to represent now. And you want to have the appearance of respect and professionalism. And it really changed my attitude towards that, and it also helped me understand that it took a community to get you elected. I thought me and my wife could do it in her house by ourselves, printing stuff off of our printer at the house, just trying to do stuff. And if you're really going to make a difference, you've got to put everything into it in the most professional way possible. And that's really what the campaign management seminar did for me, was taught me how to professionalize how I would campaign, and it was invaluable to my success.
Yeah. One thing that makes me proud of where you came from is your grandfather took you to a Farm Bureau meeting and instilled in you some of the values that our organization has. And I often say all the time, all it takes is somebody engaging you to ask you to be a part of it. And your grandfather chose to do that with you, I think, and got you a part of our organization. And I think you've been passionate about it for a long time. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, Farm Bureau has been a part of my life since I was 17 years old. And when they called and asked him to be on the board, he said, I've got a grandson that would trying to get involved in the community, wanting to make a difference. You all ought to talk to him. And so he took me and got involved there. And just kind of ever since. When you're a young person in Farm Bureau, they just grab you by the hair of the head and they just push you forward. If you're willing to do it, they're willing to let you. And I participated in every way possible, whether it was discussion meets or being in the executive committee of my local board or participating on the state committees that are here. And the connections that you make across the state are as valuable as the lessons that you learn going through a professional organization like this.
Well, we're proud you were a part of it and excited about you taking on this role as Commissioner of Agriculture, and where that takes you is the sky's the limit for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Commissioner, thank you for being here with us today. Any closing comments?
I just really appreciate the opportunity to talk to your all's members, and I love Kentucky. I love this job. Every day has been better than the last, and the future is limitless for Kentucky agriculture.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. And I don't know if it was our campaign management seminar or Brooke, but you're dressed much better today than you were 10 years ago. So.
That's right. I don't know about the shaving part. I don't know if he took to that, but he did get his hair cut anyway.
That's right.